We have an email.
We haven't even started the show yet. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Being surprised.
An actual email?
Is it from Billy?
No, it's not. It's not
it from
Billy
Dave?
or fake Dave.
I've never emailed this. So I don't know what you're talking about. I've never emailed it.
Welcome back to DQP Does, Drafty Quarters Podcast Network movie review show, where we die in a car explosion instead of getting shot by a bunch of not semi-automatic shotguns that are semi-automatic for some reason, and get 99% of our body replaced with much less humor. With me this evening is my co-host Russell.
Where the fuck is the hydraulic penis?
Dude, okay, hold on. I was going through my phone earlier today looking at pictures because I was bored at work. And I kept sending him pictures of food because I was hungry.
So he sends me pictures of food.
So that he's hungry too.
So we can be visible together.
And I came across this pun intended. This fucking meme of Robocop, like from the first one, freaking out whenever he like does the I'm glitching, making this weird face and my hands are moving. But then like the other photo was a hand with mercury in the palm.
So you said came across this.
Yeah.
Pun not intended or whatever.
Pun intended.
Pun intended.
Yeah.
And I was confused because you were sending me pictures of food.
Oh no. I just, like I said, I was just randomly looking, saw pictures of food, and I was like, man, I'm hungry. I should tell Russell that I'm hungry. And then I also saw this Robocop meme. So apropos, because we're talking about Robocop. But first, I gotta finish introducing people. We also got Dave.
Hey, it's Dave.
And we have two special guests. We got Editor Barry.
What's up?
And we've got Bill from Indy.
I'm back, bitches.
Yes.
And he is a big deal.
Yeah.
I think you're a big deal. Bill from Indy.
That's what I appreciate about you.
Awesome. Is that what you appreciate about me?
Oh my god. So we're going over Robocop from 2014. It's PG-13, hour and 57 minutes. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
The PG-13 thing. I didn't even realize. I watched it and I was like, I mean, okay. But there was like, I didn't miss the swearing, I guess, but I did miss the titties.
I miss the swearing.
And violence.
I don't know, like, you get away with a lot more violence than you used to in PG-13.
Correct, but not like blood splashing
No.
all over people and
No.
being dismembered by a shotgun kind of violence.
Yeah. This one has an interesting cast. I'm actually going to go over the cast real quick. Joel Kinnaman as Alex Murphy.
Yeah.
Gary Oldman as Dr. Dennett Norton.
Fuck yeah.
Michael Keaton as Raymond Sellers.
Also fuck yeah.
The rapper Abby Cornish as Clara Murphy. I bet you guys didn't know that she was a rapper.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, what?
Yeah, she's a rapper.
His wife?
Yeah.
Whoa. I mean, she can't act, so
What is
she had
it?
to
What-
do something.
Dust.
Woo!
She can angry cry like a motherfucker, okay?
And she's afraid of the show.
Her
Be nice.
her rap name is Dusk. Jackie Earl Haley as Rick Maddox. What?
No, just I'm done with the rap thing.
Okay.
Keep going.
Michael Kenneth Williams as Jack Lewis. I don't know who that is. Jennifer L as Liz Klein. I know who she was in the movie, but I don't recognize her. Jay Baruchel. Is it Baruchel or Baruchel? Does anybody know?
I thought it was Baruchel.
Baruchel?
Baruchel.
I was saying it completely wrong.
Alt-right J.
Yeah.
Yes. Tom Pope, Marianne Jean-Baptiste as Chief Karen Dean, Sam Jackson as Pat Novak. I mean, it keeps going a little bit. There's some more people in here. There's a lot of people in this movie.
Yeah.
A couple of really fantastic actors.
I didn't remember the trailer for the movie. I've never seen this movie. I didn't remember the trailer. I didn't get on IMDb before watching it. So the entire movie, I was like,
"What?
What the fuck is happening?"
They cast the shit out of this movie.
Yes, they
Yes.
did. Yeah. It's a shame the script wasn't as good as it could have been.
Yeah.
Just a quick synopsis. It's. I mean, I already said it. It's RoboCop, but without the humor. And well, I mean,
it's also without it being good.
Well, I think it's okay. I think it's all right. It's just not. It's not great. I personally like this better than RoboCop, but that's because I don't hold the classic status that you guys do of RoboCop. And I understand that. I'm just saying this is more my style of movie.
Fair enough. I still love you, Shane.
But so yeah, like he's a cop. Is a little more involved in the backstory. He's not just like a newbie that shows up and immediately gets fucking aced his first day out. He's like an established detective in the precinct he's at. Him and his partner come across some shit, and it's involved with some corrupt cops. So the guys that they're going after get some warning, and they end up getting the partner gets shot, Lewis. So then he gets put in the hospital. Murphy goes to visit him. They put a bomb on his car while he's there. It blows up when he's at home with his wife and kid. They changed the kid from a girl to a boy. I don't know what the point of that was. Because he had a daughter, I thought.
No, it was a son.
I thought he had a daughter. And
Mm-mm.
Well, because his son's favorite TV show. That's why he does the.
Oh yeah.
the
No,
spin
I'm
with the
stupid.
gun.
Anyway, You're
not stupid, Shane. Don't do that.
Yeah, I am. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Anyway,
Go watch RoboCop again.
nah, I'm good.
Watch RoboCop 2.
No. So
No,
anyway,
you should.
I'm watching 3, the one with the samurais, ninjas, something,
Twin samurai ninjas.
twin samurai ninjas.
Can we watch that?
If that's 3, I don't remember 2 at all.
I
2
don't,
is the little drug
I
dealer
haven't
kid.
watched any of it. From fucking
I don't remember 2 at all.
Wow, I can't remember anything. Never mind. It's fine.
Let's restart the show.
Yep, just start it over. I fucked this completely up. Anyway, he gets blown up, becomes a RoboCop. He like has some problems, starts freaking out, but they fix it by making him just be a hunk of meat in a machine. And that pisses his wife off and makes him an amazing cop. Until his brain is like, hey, bro, you remember how you almost got murdered? We should like fucking kill those guys. So then he does. And the police are upset about it because they were involved in it. And the people that paid to have him put into a, made into a cyborg are upset about it because it's causing them political issues, maybe. Because they want to just make robots cops and it makes them a bunch of money. Because all they care about is the dollar. Anyway, it ends up being the same story. The corporation is bad. The cops are actually bad in this one instead of being just like, the tread upon workers as in the original movie. And he ends up killing the bad guy, not by him getting fired and no longer having to abide by protocol 4. He just does it because his will is strong.
Right.
Yeah.
He overpowers the machine with his spirit.
Yeah, with his soul.
Assuming you guys don't like that.
I think it was the other way was better. It made way more sense.
Yeah. I didn't love him just overriding his prime directives or whatever. That wasn't even a thing in this.
Right. Yeah, prime directives weren't even mentioned. They kept saying protocol all the time. But as far as like if you divorce it from the original movie, yeah, I think it's a good movie. I think there are things that the original movie did better, and there are things that this movie did better. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. You know,
I mean, I could see that. I had to separate because we all know we listened to the last episode. Yeah, I love RoboCop.
Right.
Yeah.
Once I realized, okay, this is not a remake. This is a reboot.
Right.
Then I was fine.
Yeah.
I didn't love the movie, but it wasn't bad. That's some cool stuff.
Yeah.
It was like reverse RoboCop because in the movie it's the robot being human.
Is it a reboot? I definitely felt like this was a remake.
I mean, I think they may have tried, but
I mean, the only thing it has in common with the original is its title, and it has RoboCop in it.
No, I mean, like,
there were Eds in it.
Yeah.
They were way bigger.
Yes.
They're like twice as big.
I mean, they did change a couple things, but they also, it's like a one-off. Like, this happened in 2014. Nothing else has happened since.
I don't think it did well.
Yeah,
well,
I think that's why.
I thought that as well, but I looked it up and it actually did okay. But it definitely was like meant to be a franchise.
Yeah.
Like you could tell from the story. But
and he didn't die. Like to make it that much better of a movie, he should have just died at the end.
Oh yeah.
Right?
I was expecting that.
He came back and that obviously sets it up for the franchise.
No, they were just so think about the timeline when this came out. So clearly this is like a corporate decision to like remake something using a beloved name,
right? Which
was super popular in like the 2010 to 2015. Although I don't know when it hasn't been popular, but it was especially popular.
No, I mean that was every single fucking movie that was coming out that wasn't a Marvel movie.
Yeah,
basically,
if you pull
at that
up
time.
like highest box office grosses of like 2013, the year before, it's like Iron Man 2 and. Like, it's just all sequels. This was like the land of the just remake movies that already exist.
Yeah.
Right. And you can tell that's clearly what happened here. They at least, like, sort of made an attempt at making a decent movie. Like, they put together an okay script. Like I said, they got an amazing cast.
Oh, yeah. The cast was bonkers.
And I feel like this is one of those traps where, like, if this was made by... If there was a director, like a J.J. Abrams type director, who was like, I love RoboCop, I want to remake RoboCop, and you got this cast, you could have an amazing movie.
Oh, yeah.
But it wasn't. It was hey, people like RoboCop, we should make another RoboCop and try to make a bunch of money.
Yeah.
Right, and you can tell that's the direction they were going, and they did a reasonable job of making a decent movie with that in mind, but you could tell it's just, it was that cash grab, you could tell, versus like having someone who was like, I want to make RoboCop.
Right.
Yeah. I actually completely agree with that. And that's basically how I felt watching the movie, because I was like, this isn't bad. I expected this to be like awful. And there's actually, so like Samuel L. Jackson and what his character and the way he was interjected into the movie, I enjoyed that as a play on how the news anchors in the first RoboCop were done. Right. So, but he was more serious, but he was also like, he was very clearly leaning to one side, and I
that was like plainly satire of like Bill O'Reilly or somebody like that.
Yeah. And so I really liked that. And that when it opened, he's doing like the throat, the vocal warm-ups and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, this movie might be amazing. And then it got out of the first scene with him, and I was like, okay. I mean, this is all right. I enjoyed most of the acting. the story, like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I definitely feel like this was a remake, but I also agree with what you said about it being a studio wanting to remake it. But usually when that happens, it's fucking awful. Like, it's just hot garbage. And I was very surprised as the movie progressed to actually find myself enjoying it throughout most of the movie. There's definitely like a couple parts, couple lulls, but...
So, like, my biggest problem with it is that they tried to answer all the questions that you would have if you watched the first RoboCop and you, like, were just questioning, like, the reality of it instead of just going along with it. Yeah. Like, the whole first half of the movie is like that, and it's like, wait, what? Why are we going through this, and why are we going over it more than once? Like,
oh, well, that I can answer that question. The internet.
Yeah. No, I know.
I mean, like,
I get it.
Yeah, like in the 80s, they didn't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
They weren't like, oh, people are going to read someone dissecting this movie on the internet, and now everyone's going to hate it. So this time, which kind of makes it even feel more like a studio movie, less like...
Yeah, I mean, it's a camel, right? And,
yeah.
You know, thank you, Parks and Rec. It was a horse designed by a committee. So, like, you know, it's got all the parts, and but like the whole doesn't come together the way that it really should. And part of the problem is that worrying about what the internet will say, right, is a huge problem.
Oh yeah.
And it fucked this movie up. It should have been like 20 minutes of that and an hour and 10 minutes of RoboCop kicking ass.
Yeah. Like, I didn't need to see him without the whole suit on. That kind of bothered
Twice.
me. Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, they had to keep doing it. Yeah, it was weird. But yeah, like you said, if you know anything about the process of like how movies are made, especially these big studio movies, you see it throughout, right?
Yeah.
You can tell that 5 people had their hands on this script. And you can tell that...
What did we talk about earlier this week? Where you had something to do with your work where there were 5 drawings for a building that was getting worked on, and none of them looked like the finished product. And I talked about the same shit at my job. And that's exactly what happens with movies like this. There's a group of executives in an office, and an artist brings in a piece of art, and they're like, well, what if we took the middle out and explained the beginning for the whole first 2/3 of the movie?
Yeah.
And the artist is like, well, that would suck. And they're like, well, you know what would suck more is if you didn't have the $50 million you need to make this movie. And he's like, you're right, that would suck more. I guess we'll take the middle out. And then they get there to the fucking set, and then there's a guy there, and he's like, hey, I'm going to help you rewrite this. And he's like, who the fuck are you? Well, so-and-so from the executive office that you just came from told me that you needed help making this into a good movie. And then, you know, a few years later, after a bunch of alcohol addiction, the fucking director and writer die because they don't care about anything anymore.
God damn.
Yeah. And you could see, like I said, and it's almost like the actors involved just heard, like, RoboCop. Fuck yeah, I want to remake RoboCop.
Yeah.
And then they found out what the movie was about. Because, like, how do you get all these people into a movie this dull? Other than, I guess, money, because I think they did spend like $200 million making it, so I'm sure they all got fat paychecks. But
yeah, well, I mean, I think you're right too. They heard RoboCop and were like, "Oh yeah,
yeah,
I love
like,
that movie."
Yeah, Sam Jackson, he'll do any movie, literally any movie. He doesn't care as long as he's working. But like,
I feel like he needs to be amused by it, and the thought of him playing a like Bill O'Reilly like made him laugh his ass off.
A fucking right-wing authoritarian.
And then he was like the best fucking thing in the movie.
Yeah.
And he's like, fuck you.
Yeah, but like Gary Oldman, he plays roles he wants to play. Like,
yeah, that was the one I was surprised. Well,
he also showed the fuck up though.
Yeah,
like,
he
for
did.
this movie. Like,
he was very serious in the movie. Michael Keaton was Michael Keaton, but like I also feel like usually he's similar to Gary Oldman. He plays things that he wants. He does things he wants to do.
At this point in his career, I mean, like in the 80s and 90s, Keaton was in like anything he could get. But like, at this point, he just like, he does shit he wants to do. Like he'll disappear for 10 fucking years.
Yeah.
And so he wanted to do this movie.
Right.
And I don't think he read this script and was like, I want to do that movie. So it almost had to be like Robocop. And he was like, fuck yeah, I want to I got to be the bad guy in Robocop. I'll do that.
Yeah.
Maybe he owed someone a favor.
It got him out of a hand job.
Is there a story there?
No.
It sounds like there would have been a
Making
story.
up
I
a
never
story
know
in my
anymore.
head. Yeah, just
I
making
was about
things
to be
up.
upset. I was
Just
like,
making
oh my
things
god,
up.
does Michael Keaton solicit for hand jobs? Like, because I got two.
That's not at all what I meant, but okay.
But yeah, things like that Gary Oldman being in it, and you're like, yeah, he was really good, but like, again, it felt like they almost added the doctor's story and the background of RoboCop because Gary Oldman was there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
it doesn't
no.
feel like the script was written to be like, we need 45 minutes of past and like a whole section about this doctor and his moral code
Yeah,
and how he's trying to help
Well,
wounded vets, and then he comes in.
They
so
rewrite it, and then they're like, it doesn't make sense that Gary Oldman's in the cast anymore. And they're like, well, we'll go back. We'll take this part of this script and this part of this other script, and that's the movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll pose an idea. Because maybe we're thinking about it wrong. Maybe it's not the 5 executives in the studio that were into this movie. Maybe it's having all these big ass name actors who can swing their dicks around.
That's a
were
thing
into this
too.
movie, because that happens too. I just watched a video the other day from a website called Wisecrack. He talked about like 5 different movies that were ruined by the big star, and in this we have about 4 really big stars. So maybe Gary Oldman was like, yeah, I'll play this doctor, but I need more lines.
Yeah.
And so
And 5 writers credits on this, by the way.
oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So
5 writers run to this. I was going to get to an interesting tidbit about Tom Cruise, because I like to talk shit about Tom Cruise. So Tom Cruise run to the movie, or run to the Mummy. He also run to this movie, but wasn't even in it.
Background knocking stuff over.
So Tom Cruise run to the Mummy because
Mission Impossible 5.5.
He thought that his character should have. So the new Mummy movie was initially designed to be a horror film.
Yeah.
And
a vehicle to start a new cinematic universe.
Yeah. And so they signed Tom Cruise, and then Tom Cruise thought that he should have more screen time and lines than the Mummy. So then they had to shoot the movie in a way that Tom Cruise was more integral to the movie, and ended up being an action movie. And I learned that from that Wisecrack video. Sorry to distract.
No, I mean,
So we talked about budget drawing people in. So it was $100 million budget.
okay.
Worldwide, it ended up making $240 million. So not terrible. But this is why there were no sequels.
Yeah.
Gross domestic $58 million.
Oh.
Yeah.
So did not do well in the US, and 21 million of that was opening weekend. So a lot of people wanted to watch it, and then as soon as they did, no one wanted to watch it anymore after that.
So are you telling me that foreigners loved RoboCop more than Americans loved RoboCop?
Yes.
That's fucked.
Because they were like,
Yeah.
America's so fucked up. Look what happens there. Detroit is just like this. There are robots. There's corporate greed.
You're right.
RoboCop
right,
saved Detroit, though. He saved Detroit.
And you could tell, like, again, the difference between the 80s and now, right? In order for this movie to get made and them to say Detroit and Detroit Police Department, it had to get approved by the city of Detroit. And you could tell because Detroit looks awful fucking nice in this movie. It doesn't look like a shithole like it really is. And you know what I mean? Like there's all those little things that, like when we were talking about the original RoboCop, we brought up things that we liked, and none of them came into this movie. right? Like I said, it literally
Yeah.
was like, we weren't like, I love Robocop. It's got a cop who's a robot, which is basically the only thing that came into this movie, right? We said like, oh, we like the super dark satire, which they got rid of. I mean, they had satire, but like very light satire.
Well, I mean, the whole Pat Novak thing. That's all.
Yeah.
That whole thing is satire, but
Which was like it was like a more grounded, realistic satire, which was good for like writing and having a good script, but it wasn't the same.
Yeah, the other stuff was dark and over the top. Like, how could that possibly be? But
and I don't wonder if they didn't shoehorn it in later because they were like, hold on, we skipped over an entire thing that was in the first RoboCop with all of the social commentary. How do we get that in? And we've already filmed the whole movie. So they were like,
let's get Sam Jackson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it felt like none of that stuff was part, like it didn't blend in. It just, I mean, he was just kind of stapled in between scenes to break stuff up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it just very well could have been added in later, right? And then like, what else did we like about RoboCop? We liked random gratuitous violence, which there was none in this, right?
Not enough.
Yeah.
It wasn't gratuitous.
That's part. I think another part of that was like, well, we need to make the movie so that way, like, fathers who have sons now who loved RoboCop can enjoy new RoboCop with their kids. But like,
I watched Commando with my dad when I was like 10 or something.
Yeah. My dad was like, just cover your eyes during the sex scene. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Violence is cool.
Yeah. I don't know how many fucking like Bruce Lee movies and Seagal movies and Van Damme movies I watched with my dad. Like, just like, oh fuck, I forgot about cover your eyes. Forgot about them titties. All right.
That's the same. Nudity was the only real thing.
They didn't give a shit about like somebody getting fucking shot in the chest with a rocket launcher or some shit.
Yeah.
It was like, oh no, you can't see boobs. Which, you know, I'm not judging my parents' parenting. I'm just saying, like, you know, what's the big deal about a kid watching a rated R movie with their parents? I understand, like, kids watching a rated R movie by themselves and their parents not knowing about it.
Yeah, like, it
being
helps
a big deal.
if the parents can, like, explain things that the kids might question.
It's
whereas
called parenting.
Yeah. Whereas, like, the kids,
that makes sense.
Questioning it alone could come up with all kinds of crazy.
Well, the hero did this, so it's okay. Well, no, it's a movie. It's fake.
It's a movie, and you're missing all of the nuances that made the thing okay.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know, but yeah, it being PG-13, and it was funny to me get into some of the gun stuff. It was funny to me that they're like, yeah, it's a 50 Beowulf submachine gun that shoots burst fire, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, okay, cool. And then shoot somebody and it's like, that didn't do anything. They just like shot him. Okay, cool. And then they're like, hold on. And then they're like, yeah, it has to be over 50 cal to do damage to him. And I was like, that's not how guns work.
Yeah, that was really bugging me.
Like, yes, the bigger something is, the more force it has if it's moving the same speed. But most often, it is not. Like if you're talking about, for instance, 50 Beowulf. 50 Beowulf is like about 1.5 inch long cartridge. It is 1/2 inch around. But if you shoot somebody with a 50 BMG, that's about 5 inches long. And weighs about 5 times as much and will fuck some shit up. So, like, it moves faster. So, like, yeah, if you shoot Robocop with a 50 BMG, you probably tear him in half. But if you shoot him with 50 Beowulf, it's probably going to bounce off. Well, because he's made of metal.
And they did, like, they made a really big, you're right, they made a really big deal out of it multiple times.
Yeah.
And, like, the main baddie, which, again, had nothing really to do with the rest of the story, so, again, didn't make sense. But anyway, he's all like, oh yeah, I'm ready for him. We got all these big guns.
Yeah.
And then when he finally gets there, none of them have big guns.
No.
They're just like shooting 9mm SMGs at him.
The one dude that walks in front of him, like right after he says that, has got a Vector, a Chris Vector, and it's either a 9mm, a 40, or a 45. None of those.
Yeah.
are 50 cal.
None of those will
That's true.
pierce armor in any way.
No.
I was really expecting to see a Barrett. Like they kept talking about 50 cal, 50 cal, 50 cal, and then it was like
Yeah.
like the big crazy rifles from the first one is like looks like a Barrett with a silly scope on it.
Yeah.
And I was like, for sure they're gonna bring out a Barrett, and that's how they're gonna like put him down for a second, and then they never did.
They broke Chekhov's gun rule, because you see, I don't think it was a Barrett, but when they're looking at the guns from the guy when they're buying the guns, they have those big crazy military grade weapons.
Yep.
And
nobody ever uses them.
Yeah, no one ever uses them. I expected to see 5 snipers and 5 Barretts at the end of the movie shooting him.
That's literally like the point that kicks off the entire Robocop entry of like space guns that shouldn't be on the street because they're corporate like military weapons are being sold off by the police to street gangbang members. And they never get used at any point, and they just disappear, and everybody just uses conventional, normal firearms after that.
Yeah.
Except for Robocop.
Yeah.
And
Matt is a military grade weapon.
Yeah.
He has a super stun bullet thing,
pistol,
and then a regular gun that's heavy.
Well, it's like it's a 50 BMG, or not 50 BMG, that'd be awesome. It's a 50 Beowulf like SMG, but like
that never needs reloaded.
Yeah, that never needs reloaded, and isn't actually 50 Beowulf because it's not like cutting people in half.
So
with a burst.
Does a 47 caliber actually exist?
Not to my knowledge. I'd have to look to.
I was going to ask that too. I'm pretty sure it didn't exist.
Real dumb too.
I mean, like pretty much every caliber exists somewhere in the world.
Yeah,
because some country adopted it.
What is that?
Because there's like a 454.
Right. Well, here, let me look it up. Give you some Jeopardy music.
Oh,
that's enough. We got 6 seconds.
Check out Aaron Rodgers, celebrity guest host on Jeopardy.
Not a sponsor.
Wait, is that a real thing happening?
Yeah. They've been doing guest hosts while they're trying to figure out who's going to replace Trebek. And Aaron Rodgers did it for a week.
Oh, there's
That's
a
cool.
47, like 47, not .47, on Navy ships. It's a 6-inch gun. That would fuck him up.
That would fuck Robocop up.
And the whole building he was in.
Yeah.
Naval bombardment. Survive this, motherfucker. We parked a fucking battleship in the Great Lakes and just shot Detroit with it.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, there's nothing. What would that be in millimeters?
They're future guns, so they needed something adaptive between a 454 Casull and a 50 cal.
That's an 11.9 millimeter.
Okay, definitely.
That's nothing. Yeah. That's nothing. Because 12.7 is 50 cal. 12 point. It's also what I think. That was what. God damn it! What's his fuck's gun in?
Bro.
Blade Runner. Dude, my brain just like fucking shit itself.
Making finger guns at people, doesn't it help you solve the problem?
Nope, I was looking for somebody that could help me.
I just like doing finger guns.
I don't know. That's what it was in Fallout, right? Is that what his gun was?
10 millimeter.
No. In New Vegas, they had the 12.7 pistols, but I thought there was a unique one that was God damn it, what's his Deckard's gun?
Okay, yeah. I didn't even know. I was like, what is he looking for?
I don't remember.
Yeah, anyway, if you guys remember what caliber Deckard's gun was, either in Blade Runner or in Fallout New Vegas, shoot us an email at DraftyQ at no what? DraftyQ.com. We have a .com. We have a .com. Fucking newsflash, guys.
No, we don't.
DraftyQ at gmail.com.
And speaking of emails,
right in the middle of this conversation, let's do it.
That was a good segue.
We have an email from Andrew. You guys have to do Velocipaster. Also, Dave deserves a pizza party.
Pizza party, I support.
Man, I'm seeing there's like a trend going on here that a bunch of people just want pizza party.
I think Dave likes both of those things.
Yes, I do. I've not seen Velocipaster, but I want to.
Oh, man.
Maybe that should be our first Facebook Live event.
Us watching Velocipaster. Can we do that?
We can like sit here and watch it.
Yeah, but like they run algorithms for sound.
Yeah, you have to have the sound turned
yeah,
off.
we got to put the sound through the headphones.
Oh. So this is going to be like us being like, this movie sucks! I can only sort of hear myself talking, but I don't know.
I don't think a movie's going to suck. Just saying.
Well,
I'm pretty sure it's only like 47 minutes long. So that's
well, I can lose that.
Yeah. The only thing I've ever heard where they do that non-sponsored commentary, they don't even listen to it. They just turn it on and talk about what's happening. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but we can run it through the headphones if we want to listen to it and watch it, and then it won't be in the recordings.
Okay.
So email us at draftyq@gmail.com.
Wow.
I
Good
have
job.
to say at twice.
Yep. Every time.
If you think that we should do that as a Facebook Live event or comment on our Facebook page.
And thank you, Andrew.
Yeah. Also, thank you, Andrew. Thank you for emailing in. Appreciate that. Barry, did you tell him to do that?
So some behind the scenes. I was watching Robocop. He was also there. And I was talking about it. And he was like, oh, man, you should have them watch Velocipaster. And I was like, email him. See what happens.
I don't know him, but I like him.
Yeah. People like, I don't know. It's weird because I'm like, yeah, I have a podcast. And they're like, oh, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, you should like it and listen to it. So this other thing that I want has nothing to do with that.
Yep.
That would cut into my time of making my own podcast, is what I hear mostly.
Really?
Yeah. Everyone has a fucking podcast, dude.
But we're the only podcast.
But
That I have, yes.
No, we're the only podcast.
We're
ever.
the only one?
Yeah, it's the only
okay.
one.
Yeah, that's why you're on it, Billy, because you're a big deal.
Yeah, I
the
only
only
go
podcast.
on nationally broadcast podcasts.
Which is
I mean,
this one.
technically, we are nationally broadcast.
Internationally.
Yeah, that's not.
And internationally, which I like to tell people at work. Because they're like, oh, that's cool, man. 'Cause they're dumb.
Oh, fuck.
It has tens of listeners.
Wait, did you listen to it 10 times, Bill?
Oh, no, I'm sad. Supposed to be saving
We
this
actually
podcast
picked
network.
up quite a few downloads when Dave joined, which was cool. So,
Really?
welcome,
Oh,
Dave.
shit.
Yeah, you are
Damn.
saving the podcast.
Sounds like someone needs
Dave
a pizza
here to save
party.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you guys want to go, I don't know, start like a GoFundMe for us to get Dave a pizza party, I feel like that would be a waste of your time, but because the pizza party isn't that expensive, but it'd be pretty funny if like somehow we got like $200 for a pizza party just for Dave.
But what
And-
if we got
That would be amazing.
$2,000?
That's so
if
much
we got-
pizza.
if we got $2,000 for a pizza party, then I would probably break my intermittent fasting to eat a slice of pizza.
Okay, now hear me out. What
Don't-
if we got
Stop it.
$20,000?
That's still
What are
so
you
much
trying
pizza.
to get me to say? Do you want me to like fuck a pizza or something? Like where is this going?
Shane gets his own pizza if that happens.
No, it's going to be one big pizza, and
Yeah.
you have to eat it after Shane fucks it.
Yeah, this just turned into like a fucking Mr. Beast thing, and I'm not
Okay.
into it.
For $200,000. Basically, I'm trying to decide what you would buy for $1.
I'd
buy that for a dollar.
Probably not a ticket to this movie, honestly.
Oh,
Let's get that back on track.
It's in there one time.
Hold on.
Yeah, it is.
I kind of like got away from the guns, and I wanted to say I'm sad they got rid of the Auto 9 and gave him like a mini Judge Dredd gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the Auto 9 a lot.
Yeah, he has a pair of guns. But yeah, he went from one sort of silly, futuristic-looking gun to just like a CG, normal-looking gun.
Yeah.
He also holds them stupid.
Yeah. It's
He does a lot of
one down at his side and the other one like up and
we're posing,
sideways.
but you know this is an audio medium, so you totally know exactly what we're doing.
They're also shirtless.
But if you tune in to our Facebook Live where we watch Velocipaster,
you keep saying this like it's a joke, but we're gonna do.
You gotta
this.
ask us to do it, okay? And you know, like. I'm not just gonna do it. You gotta ask us to do it. Just email us. Somebody, fucking for God's, Billy, just email us right now and ask us to do it.
That's not the movie I'm picking if I email you.
are you picking Kung Fury? Kung.
Whoa!
Whoa! Fury.
I'm not watching that one. Not watching that one.
No!
I promise I haven't seen that movie.
That sounded very non-committal. I feel like maybe you have. What the fuck was the meme? Somebody sent me a meme, and then me and the other person in the group basically said no a billion times.
Is it the Pikachu and Misty?
No, it was
What the fuck?
no, it was him. Hell yeah, I want a Star Wars roleplay in bed. Her, Misa heard you's a bad boy. And it's a chick in like a bustier with a mace, like a fucking two-headed flail, wearing a Jar Jar mask. And yeah, no. Hell no.
That made my spine quiver in a bad way.
Wait, who said, well?
Definitely not me.
What the fuck, man?
Dave,
Yeah.
it was on your track.
No, it wasn't.
Also, I just had
Lies.
super deja vu about that whole thing happening with Dave and the track. And that was weird.
Okay.
There are still other existences of me in other dimensions.
Did a cat just walk past?
Yeah,
Oh,
something
shit.
changed.
No.
Check to see if there's bricks out there. I
You
still
can
see light
still
coming.
see the light.
That doesn't matter.
These are all great visual jokes.
Yeah.
Hope you guys enjoy our podcast.
Our new visual podcast.
Wow. Okay. Well,
I had to wear a tux that one show, so
yeah, you did. I was impressed. I was surprised you actually wore it.
I'm wearing a tux right now.
Uh-huh.
But you
T-shirt.
had your shirt off. What's happening?
He changes real fast.
So you
My
said
share.
something about what he would buy for $1. And that made me remember. So I really enjoyed this movie. But my favorite parts were the little callbacks to the original. Like
Yeah.
when the guy was like, I wouldn't buy that for $1. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, he said it.
And then at the end, when he was like, "Dead or alive, you're coming with me," I was like, "Fuck yeah!" Like
Yeah.
screaming in my
I like
face.
that one.
I was so hype over that.
And
But,
the intro song was the same song.
Yeah.
yeah.
They brought it back a few times too.
yeah.
And they made him the nickel blue finish, and then they were like, we got to make him black and tactical.
Yeah, which also
Well,
felt
the
like a
douchebag-
joke, though.
Like asshole corporate guy was the one that came up with that
Yeah.
idea.
And again, that's
Yeah.
what leads me to the sequels were coming, right? Because again, at the end of the movie,
He's
Yeah.
back.
they
Went
put
back
him
to
back
the
in the
finish.
original RoboCop.
Yeah.
Also, did you guys love the toy
Yes.
insert joke thing? God, words. I
Where
caught
it was
Shane's thing.
actually the original costume, and they were like, this tested really well against inmates at this correctional facility. And then he is turned into a transformer, and fucking flashing lights popped out and shit. And they're
Yeah.
like, this tested
That was,
really well with little kids.
Yeah, and that was a toy. I
Yeah.
remember that toy being on shelves.
Yeah. Which
Yep.
we talked about the first RoboCop, right?
Yeah.
They,
Yeah.
they had
Did
a whole
we?
toy line, and yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So we got anything else for this one?
We
We're
got to
gonna-
talk about Joel Kinnaman because
Yeah,
we
we
haven't.
still
Okay.
haven't done that yet.
and
All right.
he's the RoboCop.
So talk about Joel Kinnaman.
I think he's freaking awesome. I like everything that he does.
Yeah.
I was
agree.
really excited because the only thing I'd seen him in previous to this was there's an AMC show called The Killing, which was a like long form detective drama where they basically have a single case over the entire season, and it's really good. And he's one of the main detectives on it.
Yeah,
and I thought he was awesome.
He's the guy from Altered Carbon, right?
Yes, first season.
I really like that.
Yeah, he wasn't an action star when I saw him originally, but you can tell he's a big giant dude in that show. And so then when I heard he was going to be Robocop, I was like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
because he's like big, tall, linky guy, like long arms, muscular. So you're like, oh yeah, you put a big robot suit on him, and he'll just look like a giant dude. And
or a green screen,
or just a green screen mostly in this one.
Yeah.
But he was in a suit a couple times.
Yeah.
People also might know him from Suicide Squad, where he plays Rick Flag.
Yep. I mean, that was obviously after this, but
Yeah, and then he was also in The Informer. He's done quite a bit. Some show on Apple TV called For All Mankind. Looks like he plays an astronaut.
He's Swedish, by the way, as well.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. I would like to see him and Skarsgård, Alexander.
which one? I don't remember them by their names.
Isn't there like 6 of them?
Eric from True Blood.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would like
Gotcha.
to see the two of them in a movie where they play two brothers.
So I was gonna wait until the Wednesday appreciation post and like make sure that happened. Throw one of his pictures in there because I feel like they do look very similar.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'm glad people are picking up on that I just put random lookalikes into that post.
Yeah.
I love it.
But it's on purpose and not like actually a mistake. And they're just like, is this guy fucking stupid?
Answer is yes.
Surprisingly. But yeah, I mean, I really like him, like you said, in everything that I've seen him in, including this movie. I feel like there's actually a lot of breadth that the character goes through, because they like fuck with his head.
Yeah.
A lot. And I mean, he does it really well. So I think he did a lot with what he was given, because I think that was probably one of the harder roles in the movie to play, right? Because he's supposed to be like an actual person and then like completely devastated and like suicidal and then basically turned into a robot and then struggling to not be that. There's a lot going on with that character.
Yeah.
As far as where they expected him to just like do this, and he did it, and it was pretty good as far as his part went. The acting,
the scene where they're turning down his dopamine levels and shit, where like there's no dialogue or anything, it's just his face, and they keep cutting back to it. Like I thought that was really good, just watching him go from like he's like super emotional and then just totally blank, like that slow transition. I was like, wow, that was fucking cool.
Yeah. And even as dicky as the scene is where you see him without the suit, like I was only jarred for the first like maybe 10 seconds because like his acting still like pulled me into the oh my god, that would suck to see yourself like that. Holy fucking shit. Like it tore me up to watch him do it. And that's like he is one of the best parts of the movie. Like, I mean, we have the other stars that are good, right? Because they always are. But like him showing up and like doing this role, I
feel like at the time he was probably relatively unknown. Like he was known, but he wasn't anywhere near what the other people are.
Yeah, and he wasn't. I thought this was kind of like a breakout role for him. Like I said, I thought it was going to be. Again, when you're going for a sequel series, right? You bring in a young up-and-coming guy, and then you're like, bam, knock out a bunch of movies with him.
Yeah, I keep seeing the people talking about Thor recently because I guess I don't know why it keeps coming up, but pictures of like Hiddleston and fuck me, what's wrong with my head?
Hemsworth.
as like fucking 20-year-olds, you know, and they're like, yeah, these guys are going to be in this huge movie. And everybody's like, it's going to suck.
And then they were both fucking amazing.
Yeah. And then they were huge and are still huge.
Yeah.
So it's exactly what that, you know, that kind of casting looks like.
Yeah, they were trying to make a Marvel franchise.
Yeah. Which,
Yeah.
I mean, at that time, everyone was.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, people still are. Like 10 years later.
yeah,
7 years later.
I would watch the Kevin Feige
13.
RoboCop remake.
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't want him to get fired and I don't want him to quit, but I'm also super curious what he would go do if he didn't work for Marvel anymore. Part of me thinks he'd go save DC.
It's possible. Or it's possible that, like, this is his niche, and if he leaves it, he won't be
it
good.
won't be good.
Yeah, that's
Right.
also true.
Or he'll
'Cause-
get into one of those situations where, like, so another movie that came out in 2013, The Hobbit,
Yeah.
right? He'll get into that, like, Peter Jackson style, where, like, people were like, well, look what he did before. We should just let him do whatever he wants. And then
Yeah.
you get the Hobbit movies, which were trash,
Yeah.
right? Because he had no one stopping him from everything. Everything I shot was perfect. What are you talking about? Why would I edit this movie? It's perfect. Everything I did in it was perfect.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
he did do Bad Taste, and that's
The-
a great movie.
I haven't seen that. I don't
It-
know what that
It's
is.
not good.
I don't
It's
think I've
awesome.
seen a Peter Jackson movie that isn't The Lord of the Rings. King Kong. I
King
watched
Kong,
the
right.
Peter
Which was
Jackson King Kong.
okay,
It was
but-
alright, yeah.
His old stuff is real rough.
The thing about that King Kong movie was like you could feel how much inspiration he had taken from like the initial, like the old King Kong movies, and like I liked that. But we're talking about RoboCop,
Yeah.
so Joel is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So what's our problem with this movie? That it's boring. I mean, that's I
It was
think
just
what.
it was boring and just not concise in story, right? The story was just kind of all over the place. There were so many main characters and thread lines of their past and stuff that it just didn't come together cleanly, I think.
Yeah. And it was
Yeah.
under 2 hours with that many characters
Yeah.
is a big problem.
Yeah.
Right? How do you establish Michael Keaton and Gary Oldman
Under
and
2 hours.
Joel Kinnaman's characters, right? Just think about just those three, and then you throw in like a corrupt police force and the captain who, like, the captain had like 5 minutes of screen time, and then it was supposed to be like some sort of epic thing when she was corrupt, and like, right, there were just too many threads.
Yeah, like as soon as they were like, "Oh, it was the captain," that was the end of her storyline. Like nothing else
Yeah.
happened with
Yeah.
her, and I
You
was
were
really
like-
confused. I was
You
like,
were like,
"Where's that
"Really?"
going?"
Okay,
Yeah.
right, and I didn't even mention the main baddie other than Michael Keaton. I don't even know who that guy was. The other bad guy who, like,
And the exoskeleton thing.
who was selling off the
Maddox?
Rorschach?
Oh. No.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I forgot about Rorschach. Okay, there's another
Yeah, he's in
character.
this too.
Rorschach. You had to, right? There's another through thread where he, like, the robots are perfect. Put humans in are dumb. Right? There's that guy. I meant the mob boss bad guy. who
Yeah,
was
I
selling
totally
off-
forgot about him.
Right? We had
Yeah,
forgot
yeah,
about him
yeah.
in the fucking movie.
Patrick Garrow as Antoine Vallon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Antoine Vallon.
Yeah, Antoine.
Yeah, right. I mean, we just talking about the movie, we already forgot he was even in it, and he was supposed to be like a main point of the movie.
Right.
Didn't he end up killing him?
Yeah, that's the guy who, like, RoboCop's going to come after me. I'm going to have all these guns. Like,
Yeah.
that's literally the
Yeah.
only reason he was in the movie. It was for, like, RoboCop to come have an epic battle with him, because that's the
Yeah.
guy that tried to murder him.
But that's the only battle in the movie other than the pure CG battle with the walkers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And, like, it's just there was just so much, and, like, too many action scenes that were meaningless. Like, again,
Yes.
like establishing his origin story and all the battle scenes involved in that. Like, what the fuck was the point of that?
Yeah,
It's-
I agree with that. There was a lot of unnecessary action.
Yeah, so like it should have been all that unnecessary action should have been from when he actually went out onto the street until the main like story towards the climax of the movie started. So to make this movie good, it should have started with, you know, him at the hospital checking out his partner. They have a conversation that explains the first 25 minutes of the movie in 45 seconds. He goes to his car, some guy puts a bomb under it, and you see the guy, but you don't know who he is. It moves on. He goes home, you meet his wife and kid, and then he dies. He doesn't die, but he gets blown up. Becomes Robocop. Okay? He's already Robocop. First 10 minutes of the movie, all right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like that's how it should have been. And then you find out that the guy that bombed the car was a cop, and that's where you get the corruption scandal, and then that's where you get, he goes out on the street and he goes through all these guys just doing cases, and that's how he figures out that these cops are corrupt, and then he goes after those guys and he figures out that the captain is corrupt, and then he gets that, and then, that would be a streamlined version of this movie that would make sense and be better.
Yeah. They used the model of like Iron Man, right?
Yeah.
Like origin story, right? Oh, it'll be really good. We'll build this up, right?
But it's not necessary.
But it's not necessary, and it needed to be more like when Marvel really hit their stride, more like an Ant-Man or something where like they were just like, fuck it, you don't need to know the originally why. Just he's got superpowers.
Well, I mean, like Iron Man was also different because that hasn't been told before, right? So like when you get like Spider-Man, when you get the Spider-Man that's in the MCU, you get Tom Holland, it's not an origin story because it's been made 4 times.
Yeah.
You didn't need to make an origin story about RoboCop that was actually about his origin in a movie that's been made 4 times.
Yeah.
That's not necessary.
And you don't need an origin to understand RoboCop.
No.
You get it. A person who was a police officer put into a robot, right? You're like, okay, I get it. Like, you don't need a background to tell you like, oh, like, right, his life was fucked up and he had to like come to terms with being a robot, and
that's
like
what
he
the
thought
TV
he
show's
died.
for.
Yeah.
Right? You don't need that. You understand that implicitly because you're a
Yeah.
person and you're like, oh yeah, that would be pretty fucked up if I almost died and instead I woke up in a robot.
Yeah.
Boom. That's it. You need like 30 seconds to understand what was going on.
Yeah. I mean, that was my biggest problem with the movie, was that the story was not told in a efficient way. And then like the first half of the movie is basically them explaining what happens before you get to what the movie is about.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, because then they went through the parts that, in my opinion, should have been beefier, got glossed through really quickly, which was
Right.
like him coming on the force, solving crimes,
Right.
and then realizing he could solve his own crime.
Yeah.
And, right, you know what I mean? Like all that
Yeah.
happened in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, they glossed over the wrong part.
Yeah, exactly. Right, and the that's where your dramatic emotional depth should come from, is like his family realizing he really is just a robot because they cut off his emotions.
Right.
And right, like that's where your dramatic depth is, not in his origin.
Right.
Yeah. And you know what? Dread came out in 2012, so like they already knew what to do.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, you guys want to rate this? We're gonna cut this one. No,
I got one more.
you got one more thing.
I wanted to
Do
I wanted to join you guys, invite you guys to Dave's Trivia Corner. real
Oh
quick.
God,
Oh.
It's
Okay.
It's not a very big corner, so get in close.
we're here.
I got some trivia, so you guys might go, huh, neat.
Okay.
That's
let's
my
do
goal.
it.
Director Jose Padilla and Joel Kinnaman fought hard for an R rating, but due to the ever-expanding budget, which ballooned from a modest $60 million to $100 million, studio executives were forced to deliver a PG-13 rating in hopes of recouping the money the studio has spent on the film. Throughout the course of the filming, studio executives kept a close eye on Padilla, making sure he was going to deliver a PG-13 rating.
That explains a lot of the things we were complaining about, because
Yep.
he had corporate guys giving him notes every fucking day, probably
Yeah.
on a script that was written by 5 guys.
I'll just do
You know,
one more.
I knew they did fries.
go ahead.
I'll do one more at Dave's Trivia Corner. You guys like
Okay.
this corner? It's nice.
Yeah, you're good.
It's a nice
Let's do it.
corner. Are you here every night?
Every night. Every night I'm in this corner.
Huh.
Just don't go over there. I peed in that corner.
Oh, okay.
Robocop having one hand in his final form is a nod to the original Robocop, which the technicians argue with Bob Morton after whether to salvage Murphy's arm after he is killed in the line of duty. In the original film, Morton callously nixes the idea, and the decision is made to remove Murphy's surviving arm.
Yep. I remember that.
So
Yeah.
when I saw his hand, I was like, "Oh shit, they kept his arm this time." And then his hand was just like
Just the
totally
hand?
separate
Just his
piece.
hand.
I was
Yeah.
like, "What the fuck?"
And here's another piece of interesting trivia. So Kinnaman, he grew up in Sweden. So obviously they speak a lot of English there, and his dad is American, so he
Yeah.
spoke English. But he actually is a huge rap fan, and if basically, oddly enough, this one being in Detroit, he doesn't like use any like urban lingo stuff. But if you see him pretty much in any other role he plays, he's like mastered like urban rap lingo. And like if you watch The Killing, like he just like breaks out with these kids and like just starts going into raps and stuff.
What the fuck?
And he just does it like it's unscripted. He just is good at it.
Huh.
But in the movie where he's in Detroit the whole time and like has a black partner who he could have like had a rap battle with or something, he doesn't do it.
That'd have been awesome.
Dude, I'm pissed.
They just totally are like, we're not gonna do that.
You just took 2 points off my score for this movie. Because I would have loved to
Wow,
have
is it a
seen...
0 now?
I would have loved to have seen Robocop just like when he starts to become himself again, break out into a rap.
Yeah, it was a missed opportunity. But
I agree.
I guess he got a lot of practice. Like when he was in Sweden, he would have all the latest American rap albums because he had family in the States still, and he'd like
Nice.
just like rap in front of the other kids and stuff.
Now, are we talking like Ja Rule or Tupac?
I don't know his musical preferences.
Okay.
Hopefully Tupac.
I'm
Hopefully
assuming
Tupac.
probably like Eminem.
I mean, yeah, also preferably Eminem over Ja Rule.
Huh.
Yeah, I feel that.
I, for some reason, felt the need to shit on Ja Rule.
We can move on.
All right, so I'm gonna rate this. I'm gonna give it a 6. I know I kind of shit on it a lot, and I said I liked it better than RoboCop. I don't remember what I gave that, but I'm gonna give this a 6 because it should have been awesome, but executives don't know when to fucking get the fuck out of the kitchen, and they fuck everything up. So that's it's a 6. Russell?
I'm also gonna give it a 6.
Okay.
I think you should watch it.
It's worthwhile.
Yeah, it's like worth a watch. It's like it's one of those Saturday afternoon watches, I'd say. We ain't got anything better to do.
I don't know. It's pretty far down your list, probably at a 6.
Well, like some movies, maybe I should explain my.
So, like,
Saturday
if you don't
afternoon.
have to vacuum that day, put it on.
Yeah, or if you're like bored vacuuming and you want to watch something while you do it, put it on.
Okay.
If you like want a movie you don't have to pay a lot of attention to, like put it on. I mean, it's not going to make a
I don't
lot of
know.
sense either
You'd
way.
miss one of the 14 plot lines if you weren't paying attention.
That's
Like, who
true.
the fuck is this guy,
That's
and
true.
why is he so mad at him?
So like some movies I feel like are evening watches, wind down, or before I go to work watches. Some movies I feel like are like a fucking let's order some pizza and watch this movie on a Friday fucking night. And then some movies are like, I'm laying on the couch and not gonna do anything anyway. I might as well watch this movie. That's what this is.
Okay.
Saturday afternoon movie.
All right. That's not when I do that, but that makes sense for you because you got a fucked up schedule.
Yeah, my schedule sucks.
Dave.
So we didn't plan this, but I also give it a 6.
Number of the beast.
Yeah, I didn't love it. I lost everything I was going to say. Iron Maiden happened, and then I lost everything I was going to say.
All right, Barry. No. You
No.
get any of it back?
It was, it wasn't bad. Like I agree with Russell. You should watch it.
Yeah.
Watch the first one though, because it's better. But this one didn't seem as fun, and I'm all about fun.
Yeah.
You guys know this by now. I'm Dave, and I like to have fun.
Yeah.
And this one wasn't as much fun. So 6.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. Barry?
I think I'm also giving it a 6. I really thought I liked it a lot more, and then we talked about it. And like the 14 storylines, there was a bunch of times where they could have actually connected them.
Yeah, and they didn't.
And they didn't really.
Yeah.
Like when they went and talked to the chief, I was like, he was like, confess, and she said something about like it's bigger than you know, or like something like that to that effect, and I was like, oh shit, the robot dude, she's working for him.
Yeah.
But no, not at all.
Mm-hmm.
That was, I don't know. And then those bracelets, they made a big deal about those, and then it was just like
The final scene, and that was it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought I liked it a lot more until we talked about it.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, I would watch it again, but
Yeah.
6.
Okay.
Oh wait, while it's still my turn to talk, we didn't do like the CG shit on thing, right?
Yeah, some of it was bad, some of it was okay. So it kind of evened out.
So we were talking about the like when he had the suit off.
Yeah.
So I didn't pay attention to his acting at all. I was just watching the lungs and making sure they were like in the right rhythm for when he was talking and shit. And I actually think that was really good. I think they tried real hard to make sure the lungs looked like they were supposed to.
Yep.
So you should rewatch that scene and pay attention to his acting.
Yeah, I'm with you. I pretty much just ignored digital graphics in it because basically anything made in the mid 2010s, like they thought graphics were really good, but they weren't actually yet.
Yeah.
And it just did not age well
No.
on any movie from that era. So I just sort of ignored it. But yeah, there are definitely some times where you're like, whew.
What Marvel movie was it where I was like, yeah, it looks like the YouTube fire effects that everybody uses when they fucking slam their title down.
Thor: Dark World.
Was it Dark World?
Yeah, because you're talking about the Aether.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like when Count Dooku gets smashed by the metal in that Star Wars movie. It's pretty much exactly what the car explosion looked like, where like he like did some weird twisting blow away thing. Yeah.
We're only going to do this wire thing once. Don't worry about learning how to do it. Just fucking let go and we'll pull you in the direction we want. Was that good enough? Fuck it. Whatever. We'll fix it in post.
Yeah.
They didn't write that one down. If you remember what we talked about in the last episode, they didn't write that one down.
I did think the Eds looked really good, but I also just watched the original RoboCop with the claymation pig squilly things. So
there was one particular scene where the one looked really bad, and it was supposed to it was like jumping or something. But it was the one scene where I was like, that's not a real robot.
Yeah.
But the rest of the scenes looked great. But that one scene was so out of place, it was fucking weird.
Well, that's one thing that bothered me way more than it should probably as well was he had the one real hand, right?
Yeah.
And in this one, unlike the first one, he was constantly getting shot all the time.
Yeah.
And like just riddled with bullets at the end of every combat. But that hand never got shot. His real physical hand.
Yeah. And he never got shot in the mouth either.
I did like
but
how
that's like
in
natural
this one
to like keep your face away from stuff, but like your hands would get beat up.
I did like
naked, pale hand.
In this one, they were actually like, "Hey, don't get shot in the face." Like,
no.
But yeah, like so, the first RoboCop, right? It was your favorite flavor of ice cream. It had all the little bits you needed. But this one is more like a coupon for ice cream, and not even like a just straight like 50 cents off coupon, like a buy one get one half off coupon.
Ooh.
Yeah,
where like they're promising you something in the future maybe that might be good,
and it's not for like Ben and Jerry's. It's for like the fucking Nestle like knockoff.
Yeah,
great value.
Yeah, it's for the store brand, and it's like I said, it's not even a good coupon. So that's kind of how this movie felt, because it was like the promise was there of like, we're making RoboCop. Look at all these fucking people that are in it. We're like, hell yeah, it's gonna be a good RoboCop. And then you saw it, and like, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't great either. And it wasn't really what you were looking for, but it wasn't bad.
Didn't quite hit the spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's no Repo the Genetic Opera. And by the way, I know I've been ignoring you guys, but I think we should do that. Next week, maybe?
I don't know. I haven't seen it, so I'm interested to see if it's any good or not.
I love that movie.
I think we're going to love it, Shane.
It's got to be better than Repo Men, which is next week.
No,
The following week.
Repo Man's the week after that. You
Messed
gotta
up our
watch it.
timeline, Bill.
Watch it again.
I have to come back again.
Yes,
Why did you make me watch that?
just to see you squirm.
Do you want to watch Repo the Genetic Opera?
Probably more than I wanted to watch Repo Man.
I don't think. I don't think that's it. No.
Oh man. All right, well that's gonna do it for this episode of DQP Does, where we talked about the 2014 reboot, remake, whatever version of RoboCop. Next week we are doing Repo the Genetic Opera. Come sing along with us or something. I don't know, whatever.
Or not.
Oh my god, are we going to do a musical episode next week?
No, we're not. We 100% are not.
Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
Billy always makes me feel like I forgot to do some homework.
Same.
Pulls out an iPad.
Yeah.
Everyone like pulls their phones out and stuff, so I just pull mine out and pretend like I'm doing it. I'm just Googling boobs.
This has been a production of the Drafty Quarters Podcast Network.